that sold business into them for about 6 months. So we spent quite a long time in the deal process with Pure Gyms and on the buy side or on the sell side to them, and then 6 or 7 months on the other side on the integration piece. So got to see both models at very close order, and consequently, just having been in the industry for 15 years, I get to see all the premium players and some of the low-cost players in the marketplace that emerged as a consequence of what Pure and the gym were doing. And I still work in the leisure sector, and I'm effectively a quasi NED in a PT studio business, and so I tend to know most of the people there. That's sort of my background. It's full service and obviously sold to a low cost model that I know, and I know the guys at Pure very well. So that's sort of a quick run through of me.
That's perfect. So why don't we start? Where's the best place? I think given your background.
Why don't we start with the gaps in what you want to know, and then I can see whether I can fill them.
Yeah. Well, so one thing that I would love to get just a high level opinion on, when I do these comparisons, there's always similarities between US and the UK, but there's often important differences as well. The storyline that I've constructed for myself, at least in the UK, is the low cost gym sector in general, similar to the US, is sort of been the share taker. And my sense is like the middle market gyms have been the market share donors. And the market probably ends up bifurcating where you have sort of high end and sort of low cost, and maybe it's supplemented by these specialty classes like you see in the US. And that was the part that I always underestimated about Planet Fitness. Was I had a view that the rise of these specialty classes was basically going to dent sort of the growth profile of Planet Fitness. But it seems like what's ended up happening is most members have kind of, there's two things. One, it opened up the market to a whole bunch of people who never used a gym, which has been a more successful source of membership than I probably would have guessed. And two, the existing members didn't really drop their membership because it was so low cost. They ended up just taking side classes as well. So they supplemented their existing membership with these other classes. And so the membership base for Planet Fitness has just continued to grow, and the comps have been fantastic, and it's just been a much better sort of growth business than I ever would have anticipated, despite the proliferation of more competition in that space. And I would be curious to get your thoughts in terms of how the UK market, low-cost gym market, is developing, whether you think that's going to follow the sort of same sort of pattern, or are there important differences to recognize that might make it different?
Okay. I think it's interesting when you look at the low-cost market in the UK. No matter how you look at the statistics of who's got what in terms of numbers of sites, I mean, there's only two large owner-operators in the UK, Pure Gyms and the Gym Group. They have dominated. I mean, they own over 60% of all of the low-cost gyms in the UK. And I think they are distinctly different from many of the other operators by virtue of the fact some of their golden mantras is finding good quality, clean boxes and building them to a good spec, and then investing regularly. I know Gym Group carries out pretty much a sort of a 6-monthly tart-up. It's part of their, I guess, annual program of keeping all of those parts in good order. So there is recycling of the dues, cosmetic or otherwise. Obviously, there's the normal kit recycling program, but these aren't tired gyms. They were built well, and they were built largely from good, clean industrial boxes, and now they've got size and presence. They are getting access to property that they wouldn't have got before, and hence that's why they're doing some of the strategic acquisitions, as Pure did with LA, to get themselves a presence in London, which they were always out. They were very strong outside of the high yielding areas because that's not their model. But obviously, the yield differential between a premium club in London versus, it depends what you call low cost. But if you think a low cost gym in London is still in the under £30 or £30 to £40 a month camp, and the average premium dues is north of 80. And well beyond that, if you go into the higher end of Virgin or the rest, you'll be into 100 to 150, depending on what you want and what extra services you want. So they, by sheer presence, and obviously they're public, facing for the gym group. They have